What's one thing that you wish people would know about communities that most people maybe don't?
I feel like community requires a lot more consistency than people realize,
Mm.
a lot more effort, because I feel that most people are looking at some aesthetic photos of people having a picnic or a lunch with beautiful candles or whatnot. And it's like, oh yeah, that's a great community. And it's like this artist, hippie, boho, chick, whatever. But like real community is messy. Real community is like everybody brings a plastic chair and we don't get up until we fix our shit. And somebody brings a Coke and somebody brings whatever rice and meat they've made
Mm.
that day, that it's not necessarily aesthetic, but it's like contributes to the
Mm.
feeling that we're in this together and we're doing stuff. So the main takeaway for me is that the community is a curated experience, but not in the way that we see it curated right now on social media.
So let's say if a person wants to have less loneliness and more connection in their life, what would be one tip? What's one action they can take that's very easy right now?
It depends a lot. I think they should start with
What when you say communities, what's happening in these communities? Why is it important to have communities?
So basically, I'm gonna bring you
Mm.
into the context with what we do to community building. Basically, our mission is to increase the quality of life for people
Mm.
in the cities. And one thing that we noticed is that people are more inclined to take action regarding their own quality of life when they have support and when they execute some stuff with a group. So this is why we're
Mm.
focusing on community initiatives, because it amplifies the impact of the things that they might already be doing or that they want to do, and they feel like they can't do it alone. They feel like they have more support. And when they gather in a group and start doing those things, their impact gets amplified. So this is why
Wow.
we have community intervention. So basically our mission is
Mm.
to increase the quality of life of people in the cities through community interventions. And we have analyzed the indicators for quality of life from both World Health Organization and the
Mm.
OECD. And there are many of them. I think there are 9 and 11 respectively. And we kind of realized that you can't people don't operate with like numbers like 9 and 11. So we distill them into four pillars. And these
Okay.
pillars are unity. So in order to have a healthy, like sustainable community and for the people in it to be healthy, sustainable, etc., they need to be united. So they need to be working towards a
Mm.
common goal. The second one is proactivity. So they need to want to do things for their community and they need to kind of, I don't know what the word in English is, to anticipate the
Mm.
needs of and to act upon those anticipations. So, for example, if they see that three people are elderly and they don't, they take a very long time and they're very tired going from the entrance to the outside of
Mm.
the shop that's next to them, maybe they could think of putting a bench
Mm.
on the road or something. You kind of
Mm.
need to be able to anticipate what your community needs. The third one is health. So you can't do anything basically if you're not healthy, and health includes from mental health to physical health to from prevention to treatment, everything in between. And the last
Mm.
one is abundance. We believe that communities should be abundant, both from a
Mm.
resource point of view, like economically, also like with the amount of people
Mm.
that are getting involved and the amount of resources that are exchanged monetarily or not in
Mm.
those communities. So this is kind of the uh, model that we're building on.
That's awesome. And so simply, so what? How
What
you're?
are we doing specifically?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Communities
Basically,
are awesome. How do you bring them together? How have you created 50
communities.
communities?
So we have multiple programs and related to how involved a group of neighbors want to be in developing a community, because there's a
Mm.
long way from being a bunch of people who do stuff to an actual community.
Mm.
So our first program is the more basic one in which they don't commit to anything. We just have some office hours with people, like, and everybody can participate. They can like random people off the internet. They don't have to want to interact with us more, but
Hmm.
they can just want us to answer some of their questions related to how to manage a homeowners association, for
Hmm.
example, or how to build a community garden, or whatever, how to interact with the local administration. So just random people who need advice. And we have some
Hmm.
office hours and some guides from that for that.
Hmm.
And then the intensive programs start. The first one and the most important that's running since 2022 is called the incubator. And in this incubator, hey,
Awesome.
I don't know if you remember the Trainers Farm incubator. It's
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
basically
Been a
the
while.
same thing. We gather these people, these bunch of people who want to do things together but don't necessarily know how. And we offer them a year of support, of intensive support,
Wow.
and money, in order for them to implement projects and to
Hmm.
become self-sustaining community, like become autonomous, be
Hmm.
capable of gathering their own resources, both financial and people, to that, and to continue on an indefinite period of time the community activities.
Wow.
What does that mean specifically? Is that we enter with them a process in which we
Hmm.
sit down and we're like, okay, you're in this region, you're in this neighborhood.
Hmm.
Who do you want to be in this neighborhood? How do
Hmm.
you want your community to look like? What are your values? What's your identity? What are the needs of your community? Because they're very
Hmm.
different. Like
Yeah, yeah.
different demographics have different
Hmm.
needs. For example, we
Hmm.
have communities in which there are a lot of people over 40 and they focus more on senior stuff like mobility for seniors, first aid, stuff like that.
Nice.
Yeah, they're very diverse. And there are also community where there are a lot of young parents and they focus a lot
Hmm.
on the little ones, like workshops with them
Hmm.
on gardening or beekeeping or
Wow.
teaching children to be more sustainable. Yeah,
That's so
and
cool.
we kind of map all of these needs and resources and
Hmm.
what they have in the neighborhood, and then we start. We're like, okay, so
Ah.
what specifically do you want to do now? And they're
Hmm.
like, I feel that for unity, we have a lot of single
Um.
elderly seniors in this community. So we would like to do a circular fair to gather some money and to support them in
Hmm.
having a place to meet for tea and whatnot.
Cool. Oh, so you help
Yeah,
them organize themselves as well.
yeah. Basically, we help them get the abilities and the knowledge in order to do community building by themselves, because it's not sustainable or scalable in any way to for us to do all the job for them, and
Yeah, yeah.
we don't
That's so
want to,
cool.
because
Yeah, give them responsibility. That's
yeah,
great.
they need to work.
Yeah, yeah. Why was this mission so important for you? I know you're obsessed with communities, but yeah, what
Because
drives
I
you now?
feel that we're going through a. I grew up in a different time, long time
Mm,
ago when I was young. Communities were that was a very weird time for communities, because I grew
mm,
up in post-communist Romania and the
mm,
economic situation was not fun.
mm,
A lot of people, a lot of parents were moving abroad, were immigrating and
mm,
working abroad in order to
mm,
support families at home in Romania, and there were a lot of children who were raised by the community, like their
mm.
aunts, their grandparents, their neighbors, and it was a very happy. Like obviously, it was very sad for them because they felt abandoned by their parents, even though their parents were trying their best to make ends
Mm.
meet and send money back to the family. But it was also a good time for them because we really felt like a
Mm.
village, supporting each other and
Mm.
playing in the street, and we were sharing food, and it was, if anybody had an emergency, everybody
Yeah.
was jumping to help. And this is a thing that I feel we've kind of lost. And
Mm.
I feel like there's a loneliness epidemic, not only among
Mm.
men. It's a concept that appears in the in relationship to men usually, but I feel
Mm.
like us as people, we are becoming more isolated, whether
Mm.
we're male, female, non-binary, whatever. Also because of Corona, of
Yeah.
digitalization, of the development of
Yeah.
technology and whatnot. Yeah,
Mm.
so we kind of wanted to recreate that feeling of being together with people who care
Mm.
about you and working towards some common goals to make the place you live in better.
That's awesome. Then so you have 50 something communities. Yeah, that's so cool. Do you have your own community around where you live?
No, this is always fun for
They're all,
people who talk to me.
yeah, because they're all your community. I mean, but
Yeah,
still.
they're all my communities, but in my apartment building where I live, they have just finished a lawsuit. The
Mm,
current homeowners association's president and the former one were in a
cool.
lawsuit against each other because one of them thought that the other took power illegally, and they're fighting, and there's always a scandal in our community. But we
Yeah.
have our next meeting after this in this period of peace is at the end of this month, and I will go and tell them, guys, we need to get our shit together and we need to
Yeah.
do stuff together instead of suing each other. How about that?
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. But that brings people
It,
together too. Drama.
yeah, I mean, not necessarily in the healthy way we're looking for, but yeah.
True, true. So are people finding Internet Vici now by themselves, or are you still reaching out? How are you making these community happen?
I think it's a combination of both.
Mm,
We in this incubator that I was telling you about, we have two major onboarding periods. One that's
mm,
happening right now, for example, in March, and one that's happening in October.
mm,
And people who are interested usually sign up through a form, and then they're like, I would like to do this in my community. And we have
mm.
a chat with them and talk to them about what this program entails, if they like what our expectations are and stuff like that. And if they say, okay, we're fine and we like them, because usually we also have applications who are like, I don't want to build a community. I just want the money that you're giving me to build a new elevator. And we're like, yeah, but it's not about that. And we,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of need to set the expectations straight.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, totally. That can be tough. Because a new elevator would help a little bit, but it's not about this. Not yeah, it's not the mission.
Yeah, and from
Yeah.
our experience, so usually people, it's the, I know this is not current anymore, but it's the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So like people feel they need infrastructure first, and they can't do
Mm,
anything without infrastructure. Then they need to have community, which is kind of false. And they say,
mm,
oh, if we had a place to meet, then everything will be great, and we'll meet 17 times a month. And I'm like, yeah, but you have a garden in front of your apartment building. Like, why can't you bring chairs from home and meet there? And like, let's do an event where we talk to each other. Oh, but it's not a beautiful place. And I'm like, yeah, community is usually messy and not beautiful in the beginning. But as you get together and then as you learn to gather resources and stuff like that, you will eventually figure that out
mm.
as well. So most of our communities after the program are like, oh, I can now fundraise in order to build an elevator. I have now the skills for that. So
Damn,
it's
that's awesome.
actually better that you didn't give me money for an elevator, but because now I can get more money from somewhere else.
That's so cool. Wow, congrats. And what's the reason you're going international now?
Basically, what we want to do, it's obvious that the issues of racism, xenophobia, homophobia, polarization, and also like
Mm,
the democratic management of a community are problems everywhere, not only in
mm,
Romania. And what we want to do is to figure out what makes a community work, like what is the essence of a community, because
mm,
there are some things that are the same in Panama, Romania, and China. There are some things
mm,
that might be different, and
mm,
we want to figure out what are the basic building blocks and what are the things that can be specific to any specific region.
mm.
So we want to gather some
Cool.
data, put out in the world some studies to figure out
Mm,
how to build a community at a general level, not only in the Romanian context, and to help people around the globe do
nice.
this in their own communities.
Nice. Any country that you're going to target next?
So we are looking at India, we're
Mm,
looking at Japan, we're looking
mm,
at Dubai, with the United
mm.
Arab
That'd be
Emirates,
awful.
and in Europe we have Spain, Portugal, and I think Germany. No, and Denmark.
Interesting. Yeah. What comes to mind is that probably like the US and Europe and Japan probably are like the ones that might need it the most. At least in like I know
Hmm.
China, yeah, maybe a little bit too. But I know like in China you'll see like grandma's association square dancing together every day. That's really
And it's
cool.
like I feel like there's a lot to learn even in
Mm,
the countries which have this. this
Mm,
culture of community gathering, and we should understand why it's working. What cultural parts are leading to
mm,
this? Like, what is it? Just a historic whatever? The
yeah,
government was like, you need to be together, and we're forcing you to do this, and it
and it
where
worked.
they were
Yeah.
forced into these structures, or is it something that comes
Mm,
naturally because of other factors? And
totally.
these are also some interesting things that we want to explore.
Awesome. It's a lot of research too. But yeah, definitely for younger people, it's not happening as much at all. So super cool. How big is the team? Is it just you three or
No, we have right now we're 11
amazing?
paid people on with various degrees of commitment from full-time to part-time, like contractor project based, and we have 27 volunteers as well.
Wow, that's so
Yeah,
cool. Damn, big boss. That's awesome.
thank
Yeah,
you.
that's so cool. Are the 50 communities mainly around Bucharest or where?
No, we're
Mm,
in half of the counties in Romania,
awesome.
and we start to observe different issues and different needs related to where they are in
Mm,
Romania. So even in Romania, things are very, very different.
mm,
But a lot of them are in Bucharest, yes, because not necessarily because that was our focus, but because a lot of of Romania's population is in Bucharest.
yeah, for sure. Sweet. Wow. Yeah, communities are so powerful. What's one thing that you wish people would know about communities that most people maybe don't?
I feel like community requires a lot more consistency than people
Mm,
realize,
mm,
a lot more effort, because I feel that most people are looking at some aesthetic photos of people having a picnic or a lunch with beautiful candles or whatnot. And it's like, oh yeah, that's a great community. And it's like this
mm,
artist, hippie, boho, chick, whatever. But like real community is messy. Real community is like everybody brings a plastic chair and we don't get up until we fix our shit. And somebody brings a Coke and somebody brings whatever rice and meat they've made
mm,
that day, that it's not necessarily aesthetic, but it's like contributes to the feeling
mm.
that we're in this together and we're
Yeah.
doing stuff. So yeah, the main takeaway for me is that the community is a curated experience, but not in the way that we see it curated right now on social media.
So let's say if a person wants to have less loneliness and more connection in their life, what would be one tip or what's one action they can take that's very easy right now?
It depends a lot. I think they should start with what they want and what they like. So
Mm,
it's that advice to be the person you want to have in your life. So if
mm,
you want to create a community of artists, put out your art, reach out to artists, go to art exhibitions, talk to them, invite them over, invite them to collaborate. Like do these steps that are really hard and painful and sometimes awkward. Like it's awkward putting yourself out there, but somebody
mm,
has to do it and might as well be you. And yeah, if you want to be the type of person who has friends who invite each other to dinner and prepare
mm.
fancy things, invite people to dinner and prepare fancy things. Like it needs to start with you. Like community starts with a person.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most important advice. I was thinking it's not easy for a lot of people because they're spending working from home and don't go outside often. Yeah,
Yeah, I get it, but I feel that
that's
we
just
as a
excuses.
society have kind of, and I want to preface this by
Mm,
saying that I get why this is happening, but I
mm,
feel like going through COVID and going through such a difficult period from a geopolitical point of view, the economy is kind of shit. Things are hard. We're in kind of burnout, but I feel
mm,
like I think we're using these things to justify some behaviors that are not
mm,
healthy for us. So like it's normal for people to have community. Like it's abnormal to be lonely. It's like
mm,
people are not lonely creatures. Like we are born to live in a society and in groups and have friends and
mm,
have good relationships. And it is scientifically proven that having good relationships leads
mm.
to a higher quality of life, longer lifespan,
Yeah,
stuff like that. But I
yeah.
feel like we use the fact that we are overworked, and we are. The things are bad. The economy is shit, as I said. We are overworked. We've gone through COVID. We are kind of like talking to people is hard, etc. To
Mm,
not do these things that are super important for us. So we
mm.
kind of need to kick ourselves in the butt and start building community if we want to have a good, healthy life.
So important. Yeah. Because I was thinking I wanted to do something like it's just a reunion of cool people I've met here. And that just having that from what you said is like excellent extra reason to do it. So it's like, oh, it's awkward. But no, fucking healthy life, long
Yeah,
life. Yeah.
long life, great friendships. Woo! It takes time. It's hard work, but it's worth it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
so cool. You
it's
should.
like I liken it to going to the gym. Like
Mm,
in the beginning, it's fucking horrible. Nobody
mm.
likes going to the gym. Your body is hating you for it. It's unhappy. It's aching all the time. You have to eat well in order to support this lifestyle. But it you reach a point where it's like, oh my God, this is my life. I'm
Yeah.
looking great. I'm feeling healthy. And it's the same with community. So we just need to
Fuck
get
yeah.
over that initial hurdle.
That's awesome. So if anyone, because this is a podcast now, if anybody wants to have Intervici in their country, but they're not in Romania, is that possible? Get the support?
Yes, I'm go to www dear neighbor with a U NEIGHBOUR.
British
Hope I'm
neighbor.
spelling this correctly. And there's a sign up link there that gets you to like there's a contact form and you're gonna write to me personally and I'm gonna read what you're writing and I'm gonna
Oh.
bring dear neighbor in your country.
Ah, okay. Now that makes sense what you said in the beginning. Cool. So I thought you were saying that Intervici is a translation of dear neighbor.
No, and the Vicini is the Romanian thing, and Dear Neighbor is
Yeah.
the international thing. And it's not even
Um,
a direct translation. And the Vicini means between neighbors, but between
oh.
neighbors sounds lamer than Dear Neighbor.
Yeah, yeah, dear neighbor is cool. Awesome. Hell yeah. That's so cool. Is that the best place? Where should people go follow you if they want to learn more?
They can follow me on my Instagram, which is at Sabina Learns, because we learn all the time.
Mm.
And soon on my YouTube channel, which is going to be at Sabina Learns.
Oh, snap. Is Sabina going to be learning Chinese on YouTube and documenting that
Sabina
too?
will be also learning Chinese on YouTube, featuring Oscar and Faye.
Oh, well, that's awesome. You can go out on YouTube too. That is sick. Awesome. I'm glad we talked about communities. That's very powerful, actually. Thank you, Sabi.